Hey everyone, Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. We're going to go over the top 10 items sold in June of 2019 here at the American Cancer Society's eBay page. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. If you're new to the channel, definitely go down there and click the subscribe button. We're aiming for 9,000 subs this week. We are trying to go for it. We need about 120 more, so definitely go down there and click the subscribe button. We're going to go over the top 10 things sold from the highest to the lowest here. We did have some really amazing sales, and there's some things in here that you might find that might help you with your reselling business. So definitely click the like button during any time during this video. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now we'll have some pricing and the totals and all that stuff for each one of these items. This was the highest priced item sold in the month of June of 2019. It was an 18 karat roped graduated yellow beaded 22-inch chain. This shows that it sold for $500 here, but actually with tax and shipping and everything, it was a total of $657.50. So gold products, of course, always are going to do very well. Get a gold tester, get a magnet, get all that kind of stuff before you start to list anything. If you're unfamiliar with the jewelry aspect of reselling, I definitely highly suggest getting a scale and all that fun stuff so that you're just double sure that everything checks out. You want to do multiple rub tests throughout this whole beaded chain just to make sure that it's exactly what is stated on the clasp and things like that. This is a really good sale. This was our highest sale this month, and we're going to go over 9 more. Next up, we have this vintage Russian Imperial crystal goblets from the Royal Eagle sword glass drink set of 3. Now, this was an item that we had about a year ago before I even came onto the American Cancer Society's eBay page. And unfortunately, there was a set of 6 of these that broke, and basically 3 of them broke in shipping, and we got these ones back. Those ones actually went for about $1,200 and something dollars. Amazing. These ones actually, this set of 3, so minus the 3 originally, even though it says it shows a bid of $700, we did take a best offer for this, and it sold for a total of $657.19. Now that's tax and shipping included, so it's a pretty crazy sale when you really think about it, especially 3 of these glasses. There's not really, if you're looking for this kind of stuff out in garage sales and things like that, I think the number one thing to look for is the etching quality. Not to mention that the double-headed eagle usually represents the Imperial logo for the Russian Imperial. I don't know exactly all that stuff, but I know for sure that when you see a double eagle and it's etched on glass and it looks really high quality, those are the things you really want to look for. For the most part, there's not going to be any hallmarks, especially on the bases and things like that. As you can see, it's got a hint of blue tinting, as you can see here, which represents during the firing process. I think that's a little bit of cobalt and all that kind of stuff that actually brings out those. It's not quite clear, but it's got a hint of blue to it. That doesn't necessarily mean quality if you're looking for that stuff. I've been studying glass for the last year, and I will say quality will stick out to you. So just look for quality when you're looking for stuff. Now, researching things that have no marks on them, you're going to have very little to go off of. There's lots of great resources on the internet, especially if you're into Facebook groups and things like that. People have been around long enough and have niched down to all kinds of different things where you'll be able to find exactly what it is. As we can see here, these are amazingly etched for sure. Next up, we have this all Clad lids, pots, pans, copper core, all the keywords: skillet, cookware, chef, kitchen, cook, USA. Definitely keyword stuffing there. I almost parted this whole out, but I thought, like, you know what? I'll just sell this one whole collection. All Clad is an amazing brand to look out for, and we're going to go over that in just a second, what the logo looks like. This sold for a total of $377.41. That's with tax and shipping included on that. We'll take a little step into to see exactly what the logos look like. As you can see here, they're amazing quality. Lots of professional chefs love this brand. Very sturdy, last decades, if not a lifetime. As we can see here, the all clad, basically, you can't really miss it. And you can see here the handles are very well done. Very amazing. And what I found is the copper core stuff usually sells the best. Don't quote me on that. I think, all clad anything is going to sell very well. As we can see here, a lot of this stuff, pretty much all this stuff, I should say, is in used condition. Some better than others. And I'm pretty sure whoever bought this probably picked out some things that they can use for themselves and then sold off the rest. And like I said, all Clad is a brand to definitely look out for sure. Next up, we have this 1/18 scale Hornet F-18, FA-18, United States Air Force. We've talked about this before in the past. We did take a best offer. This didn't sell for $500 though. We probably could have waited a couple years and probably maybe have got that, but we did take a best offer. We did get a total of $345.30 on this one. These things are very collectible, especially the Elite Force. Now, I can't tell you exactly the rhyme and the reason, though I'm pretty sure, 1/18 scale airplanes are huge. This thing was probably about 3 feet long. They're huge. You can't miss them. So if you do see them out in the wild, as we can see here, this is what the back looks like. Collect them all, it says. Yeah, if you have room for these things. The helicopters go for a lot of money. There's some of them that actually go into the $800, $600 range. I think the Blue Hornets one, or the Blue Angels, I should say, one goes for a ton of money. I think actually a couple of them I've seen go over $1,000. So if you're out and about, look out for these Elite Force large scale military toys. They pretty much will fit GI Joes, and they're huge. And like I said, this was kind of funny story actually, real quick. When I did see this in the back, this actually got donated, which was pretty crazy. Actually, pretty much all these items are donated. But when I saw this, I first thought, oh, this is one of those cheap, like $15 toys. I didn't pay any attention to it. And then I was like, let me look it up. And when I looked it up, I was shocked. And I've been into the reselling business for 30 years, and I can't tell you every day of something I've learned, something new I've learned, something that has totally set me back. Like, I don't know anything. I've been in this for a long time, and I don't know anything. So, moral of the story, scan everything, look up everything. You never know what you're going to find. Next up, we have this Beatles Yesterday and Today mono record LP, and we'll get into exactly what the deal is with this, why this is so expensive in just a second. I'm going to let you know how much exactly we paid, or actually we got for this. We sold this for a total of $286.06. And basically what this was there was a label that was over this, and that's why it's got damage. Basically, when this came out, there was a huge uproar about the imagery. As we can see here, there's basically like baby parts, and they're in butcher gear and all that kind of stuff. Now, I think probably originally when they did this photo, there was like, hey, we're going to get you in the butcher's gear. And then probably someone's like, oh, we got these dolls too, let's throw them in there. And just the whole imagery of like baby parts and meat and all that kind of stuff didn't sit well with a lot of people. These were pulled early on. As you can see here, there's some damage to the front because a lot of these were just pasted over with a new cover. Manufacturing back in the day was, they probably already made millions of these, or thousands of these, and they decided just to put a sticker over it. A lot of those stickers actually were able to come off. I think and I don't quote me on this if you know better than I do. I'm pretty sure there's some copies out there that are completely mint condition without the stickers, and I'm pretty sure those go for a lot of money. I do have a copy of the Beatles Yesterday and Today that is one that is a reprint, not a reprint, but the ones that they made that weren't just covered with stickers. This sticker job was just basically a quick thing that was done here. So definitely look out for this. This is a Bolo title for Beatles. Beatles definitely are things to definitely look out for, but this particular one in particular, definitely look out for it. Next up, we have the Chanel handbag, quilted brown leather, medium purse, all that good stuff here. Let's see what it looks like right here. Very well put together, in amazing condition. authentic, as we can see here, all that fun stuff. And this sold for a total of $269.99. That is with shipping and tax included. A great sale. Like I said, Chanel always sells very well. Just look out for fakes. There's tons of videos on how to determine whether your item is fake or not. What I usually go by, of course, you want to go by the serial numbers and you can try to match them up online. For me, it's the touch and feel smell. Chanel stuff is going to have very intricate stitching that's almost perfect. You're not going to find any errors, and if you do, it's going to be few and far between. As we can see, we can look at the stitching up close. It's actually very immaculate, because when you think about it, someone's paying $1,000, $800, $5,000 for a purse. It's going to be the highest quality that you can find. So if you see these things and they feel wrong, the stitching's kind of not quite right, the patterns don't really match up, things seem off, the hardware seems kind of cheap, you're pretty much going to know it's going to be a fake just by looking at that kind of stuff without even having to look at the serial numbers and all that. Some of these actually have holograms and things in them. So there's that. Next up, we have this 18 karat gold enamel frog. This is a very cool item. This sold for a total of $254.39. It didn't sell for $1,000. We did try to get it just not on the weight of the gold alone, because there's lots of enamel on here, and that's going to add a pretty substantial amount of weight to it. So it's really hard to judge gold content unless it's a solid gold piece without any kind of enamel. The enamel added a lot of weight to this, by the way, and so we did take a best offer for this. Gold prices went through the roof after this was sold, so if we would have waited a little longer, we probably would have got more for this. And whoever purchased this did get an amazing deal as far as, like I said, the gold prices definitely spiked up right after this sale. And so just be aware of the gold value in anything that you're listing. This is one of the learning experiences for me. I knew the gold value at the time. We did take below spec, and so there is that. But we try to get $1,000 for this because of the fact that it's a chainy, it's enamel, it's vintage, and just there was no biters for that price. So there is that. Next up, we have this Anastasia film cartoon movie used line cell art. For those that don't know, this isn't basically part of the movie animation cell. This is kind of the thing that goes underneath the animation cell so that people could see what's going on and they can paint in all the kind of things and stuff like this. It's basically like this would be underneath the animation cell so that the coloring artists have something to kind of fill in and do all that. Technically, in a way, you can say this was movie used. It just wasn't actually in the movie because the cells are the things that are actually in the movie. These under drawings basically go underneath the cell so that the artist can see exactly what they need to do, the painters and things to do on top of this thing. But this sold for a total of $238.95. The customer was in Las Vegas. They were very, very happy about this. This is what this looks like. It was a nicely framed thing. The frame itself probably was pretty much almost $200, whoever had this framed. I'm not completely sure if this actually came from the movie theater or if a third party did this for their collection. And it was authentic, as we had, where did the paperwork go? We had some paperwork for this. Must have just been put in the box without the photos. But, like I said, great sale. Look out for the kind of animation things. Now, there are, I don't want to say fake animation cells, but there's reproductions of animation cells, so don't get too excited when you see them, especially old Disney ones. You're going to tell just by looking at them if they're old or not, and it's kind of a hard thing to actually explain. But like I said, there's reproductions. Disney, they're not like bootlegs, but Disney, reproduced things over the years in limited quantities for collectors and things like that. The 90s was like a huge boom in all kinds of companies just overproducing everything. That's why you see, tons of baseball cards aren't worth tons, a lot of money in the late 80s and the early 90s. Lots of companies overproduced everything, and just to say, oh, it's a limited edition of 50 million. and stuff like that. So definitely look out for just animation stuff in general. Next up, we have this first edition Saturn Myth by David N. Talbot. This is a bolo and a half. Definitely look out for this. The hardcover version, which we had, is very sought after and very valuable. We did take a best offer. We did try to get $400 for a couple months for this, I do believe. We did take a best offer, and this sold for $235.90. I told the story before how this was found in a recycling bin. I was passing by, and this stuff was going to go out for recycling. I started to go through because I saw a couple of the titles up on the top of the recycling bin. I'm like, oh, these are interesting titles. It's hard to explain, but when I see like kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but like kind of like spiritual, kind of woo-woo, esoteric kind of stuff, I know that does very well in some aspects. And so I looked through the whole bin because I was like, oh, these are some really interesting titles. I came across this. I've heard about this before, and it stuck out to me. And sure enough, when I looked it up, it's worth a lot of money. We probably could have got $400 for this if we sat on this for maybe 2 or 3 years. We probably would have got this price for it. But for something that was pulled out of the recycling bin, someone got a good deal. And I'm sure this is in someone's collection. This is a very rare book. And just to reiterate, there is literally hundreds of books like this that are like, you've never heard of them. You would have never thought they were worth a ton of money. But do your research. Go to eBay, look at books and look at completed auctions. And just go ahead and look through those. You'll be amazed how many books that you think are just probably 25-cent books that are worth hundreds of dollars. Next up, we have this abstract Austin Productions Portrait of a Woman. We got Clara Sever. You guys have seen this in the background of some of my videos I did last month. You know, this was something that, you know, I put in the office as it was being sold. We did take a best offer for this. This sold for a total of $232.19. That's with shipping and tax included. As we can see here, for any kind of bronze statue, for the most part, in the back is usually, or the bottom is going to be some sort of hallmark or stamping. So we had some pretty good stuff to go off of here. And doing some further research, I found out that this was actually something that was in the home decor. I guess JCPenney had a home decor thing, and they sold kind of like art in the late 70s, early 80s. In the department stores, and this was kind of like high-end art that was sold there. These probably sold for, you know, $200 or $300 or $400 retail. So I mean, in that time, you know, the price didn't appreciate because the artist herself is not someone that's world renowned, and that's a whole other subject in itself about art, for sure. If you enjoyed this video, definitely click the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Leave a comment below if there's any questions or any of your favorite pieces that you see. And reseller on Steemit, Chris the Thrift Shop Hustler here on YouTube. I got a little confused there. I'm getting old. I'm getting old. I'm about to start a 5-day water fast, so my brain is already starting to fog up. Anyways, I'm Chris the Thrift Shop Hustler. Definitely subscribe and like. Forget it. We'll see you later. Take care.